subscribe. Darling Radio. Watch and subscribe.
Didn't have any connections to Africa directly. That's a fact. So many
Okay,
explorers
so the definition of black in America today, so that's what we also
That's
have to
not.
define.
That's
What
not
Negroid.
definition
true.
of black are we using? According to the US Census, black refers to any people that are, descending from groups from sub-Saharan Africa, right? So according to the US Census today, the common understanding of black that we have, blackness is inextricably linked to being African. So, like,
By
are you
today's
using a different
definition.
definition of black? Like, where is your definition coming from?
This is by today's definition. If you go back to old dictionaries back in the 1800s, even the 1700s, they would talk about Americans being Negro. They would be very explicit about this because when they got here, they saw black people here or dark-skinned people here, and they reclassified them as Negro. This is why in many of the slave documents,
Where
going back
was
to the
that term
1600s,
used first? Negro.
Second,
Where was
guys.
that used first?
okay.
Do you mind turning your
Hold on.
camera on? Because we just want to confirm if it's really you.
This is me, beloved. This is me.
Where was
Let me
that
say
term
something to this guy quick.
I'm also curious as to
Listen,
why you're
listen, don't.
pushing. Wait, I'm also curious as to why you're pushing back so much because from what I've heard of you, Tariq, you do identify as being an African descendant. So where is the pushback coming from for you?
There's no pushback. I'm all about facts and history. There's no pushback. The pushback is about really understanding genetics and phenotypes. There
Eric,
were.
shut the f up. I remember you from 2015.
Okay, well,
when you
okay. Somebody's trolling. Trolling. No, let's stick with facts. We'll troll later. I thought we were gonna have. Let's talk the facts.
Yeah,
I
go
don't need
ahead.
the trolling. Yeah. But the black phenotype has been on this land. This has been completely documented by. I'm talking about white scholars, white explorers, white
There is no
scientists.
specific.
I mean, black people look so different and have so many myriad phenotypes, but I do understand what you're saying.
There's no
Generally,
specific black
there are some
phenotype, and that word.
physical
Right.
traits that
There
are
is no
associated
specific.
with being
There.
black. For
Right. There's no
example, like
specific black phenotype.
no,
There's no
there's
specific.
not. But when people think about, oh, there's like an echo. There's a really bad echo. So when people think about like the racial, concepts that people have of blackness, it often includes things like a wider nose, dark skin, kinky hair. We understand that. But when we're talking about the classic definition that we have today of black, according to like the U.S. Census, are you using the U.S. Census definition or no? According to the U.S. Census definition, black means someone originating from Africa.
But but they moved the envelope because with the U.S. Census, even the definitions of white that changes almost every 20 years. Back in the 1800s, a white person was somebody who was Anglo from Northern Europe. Then they started to allow Italians to be white. Then they started to allow Jewish people to be white much later. So even Mexicans, they allowed them to be white much later. So they moved the envelope on who's going to be classified as white and what the definition of black is. Like, for example, a lot of people from North Africa who are phenotypically black are actually classified as Caucasian by the census
Well,
forms.
it does depend, and I mean, bringing that up in the 2030 census, North Africans are going to be in their own category. MENA, Middle Eastern / North African.
Right,
They're going to be
exactly.
in their own separate category.
Right.
And there are some North African people. There are some North African people who do have a phenotype that you would describe as white tea. But ultimately, yeah, there are white tea people all over the world. I think we all can understand that. What we're talking about here, because I think the deflection to the point about Italians and things like that is a deflection because it was never really the phenotype of whiteness that was being questioned. It was more so the culture. Like the culture of America was Western European culture, Protestant culture, right, Anglo-Saxon culture, as you were kind of alluding to. However, the culture of Italians, they were heavily Catholic. They spoke a different language. They had a different culture. They had more Mediterranean culture. So that's really what it was about with the Italians. It was more about the
with
religious
respect.
and cultural
No,
and
no,
linguistic
no.
differences.
No, with
To
respect.
where
No,
they
no,
were
no.
seen as like a different people.
No,
It wasn't
ma'am.
necessarily about the phenotype.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true,
No,
beloved.
I
That's
mean,
not true.
it is true.
Let me,
It
let
is.
Can I ask a
because
question?
because they called them guineas when they came here. That was a pejorative term, meaning that they were really African because they looked like the people of Guinea. So that's why they use that pejorative term about Italians. They didn't let them into whiteness because that Moorish bloodline that was in the Italians, and even the Spanish as well to a certain degree. But the Italians were allowed into whiteness 1920s, 1930s, 40s, around that time. And it was based on phenotype. So we got to be very clear about that.
Okay, so Tariq, right?
Okay.
Let me ask one question real
Yes,
quick.
sir.
Just 1 second, though. 1 second. So the point about guineas, right? Guineas, that was more so a reference to like the tan olive skin tone. It wasn't necessarily a reference to them believing that they were African. Most Mediterranean people have a tan olive skin tone. But I'm gonna let Uncle Moose ask you a question.
There was a
and then
famous
open up
quote,
the piano.
and by the way, there was a famous quote, I think, by Napoleon
And say, mommy, do you want to speak?
talking about
Okay, so
Italians.
Tariq, right? One quick question, right? So you base your former argument of the fact that you were reclassified from Negro, correct?
I don't know what you mean, sir. What do you mean?
Okay, because you said the fact that she was defining black by the dictionary, you said it was today's definition, and you dragged black all the way back to Negro, correct?
I don't know what you're asking me, sir. I don't know what you're asking me.
Tariq, I want you, since you're of the belief that there were some people here, right, that are not African, indigenous to this land, I want to ask you this, right? What were they called?
They were called by different tribal names.
Yeah,
They were
tell me
different
two of them that pertain to black people.
Yamasee, the Washitas. Those were two of them.
The Yamasee and the Wasito, were they classified as Negro?
They reclassified them as Negro. They did. Go get a book by Jack Forbes called Africans and Native Americans. It talks about the reclassification. Also, in the early 20th century, there was a white man who was in control of the vital statistic records named Walter Plecker, who went down the line into people's birth certificates and started to reclassify a lot of the Native Americans as Negro. So this is well documented. Look up Walter Plecker.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
This was a
then,
common thing. But go ahead, sir.
So Tariq, if they were reclassified from their indigenousness as Negro, so when did they get here? You know, America is termed the New World, correct? So when did they get here?
When did the natives get here?
Yeah, the Wichita, like you said.
Yeah,
Wachita.
they've been here for centuries, just like
Yeah,
Lucille
but when did they
Lucille
get
woman.
here?
They've been
Centuries
here
is
for
not still long
centuries.
enough.
It's what?
Centuries ain't going back as far enough. That's like last week. When did they get here?
I'm telling you centuries, sir. They've been here
But
for,
some people crossed the Bering Strait thousands of years ago, Tariq.
those were some of the Siberians. But you got
So
to
if you
understand,
got here centuries
some
ago,
people got here by sea. There
okay,
were
so
sea
that means
routes.
you met some people here then.
Excuse me, sir?
If you got here centuries ago and people crossed the Bering Strait thousands of years ago, that means you met some people here.
Well, the first people here were black. The black-skinned people were here before the pale skin or the red-skinned
So how
Siberians.
did they get here, Tariq?
Black people leave out of Africa. When did these black people leave out of Africa? Because
Yeah,
that's
that's what
when
I'm
it
asking.
started.
Like,
Slow down.
When did they leave?
Okay. Do y'all believe that black people left out of Africa? Let's just start there. Do y'all believe black people left out of Africa at one point?
People left out of
just
Africa.
answer
They
the
were not
question,
black. They
Tariq.
were a different version of a human. They were not the current
Just
version
answer
of
the
what
question,
beings look
Tariq.
like today. They were able to adapt to their different environments. The ones that moved up into Europe look YT because they are YT, because that's what they morphed into from leaving Africa. But that's thousands and thousands of years apart. That's not in
Right.
proximity to the time that Native Americans even made it here. That's not the
It
same
kind-
thing.
it
And
kinda-
had
is
there
there.
been had there
You
been any
have-
African peoples here for 30,000 years, our civilization would not have been taken down by a few YT people on some scrawny little boats. That
Then
wouldn't
how
have
they do it?
happened
Then how they do it in Africa? Then how they take it down in Africa?
because we were tribes. The tribalism is what caused that. It has nothing to do with Africa is a continent, not a country.
Right. So
There were
you
different
just
groups of
contradicted
people.
yourself, dear.
No,
Yeah,
I
you
didn't.
just-
They were
No,
all
she did not.
African black people.
Yeah.
I did
If they
not
took,
contradict
if they could
myself.
take the people down here, they could take them down in Africa.
So how come they never managed to take away our cultural ties like language and all that? Tariq, if
How
this
do
was
what?
your land before the YT man showed up, everywhere where the YT man showed up, native indigenous people had to sign treaties with them. Tell me two of which you signed.
We don't, as foundational black Americans, that's the great thing about us. We never signed treaties with
Because
them.
it was not your
Just-
land.
Because you're
was the
not
land.
American
Because
Indian.
it was
That's
not your
why.
land,
No.
Tariq. Stop lying to these
Yes, it
people.
is. Yes, it
It was
is.
not your land.
It
That
is
is
our
why
land. It's our
everyone
land
has
now.
treaties
Not.
but you.
It's our land now. We
See,
didn't sign
Tariq, let
treaties.
me. It's your
You
land
signed
now.
treaties.
No,
My
it's
You
it's,
God,
no
it's
no
your
no. Slow
land
down.
now.
You
It's
signed
another
treaties. You signed
argument,
this is
treaties
Tariq.
when you've been
madness.
completely
Let me just
conquered.
land real quick, Tariq.
You
Let me just
signed
land real.
treaties when you've been.
Let me just land real
Slow down.
quick.
No
You
no
see,
no no,
this is the
sir.
reason. No,
You
let me
signed
land real
treaties
quick.
when you've been completely conquered.
Okay, so no, that's actually false. You don't sign treaties when you're completely conquered. There's been several instances where people negotiated when they had the upper hand for the treaties, but that's besides the point. Additionally, I don't know if you actually are who you say you are. You should be at least turning on your camera to prove that. Second of all, like you are mentioning a whole bunch of conspiracy theories without producing any sources to back anything up. The Walter Plecker argument has been like debunked so many damn times. It is absolutely insane. They were not going through to eradicate Native American identity. They were trying to protect the integrity of whiteness. They didn't want people who could quote unquote pass, trying to pass as white because they are racist fucks, and that's what it was always about. No, you are not the original American Indians. My people are the original American Indians, and we've been on this continent, on this landmass for between 23 and 27,000 years. So if you have any sources to back up any of the nonsense you're saying, show it.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, please, no more
Okay.
showtime, please. Hey, Shippo, no more showtime.
Was I muted? I didn't know if I was muted. I'm new to this thing. So when people
There
mute,
was a show time, so everyone was muted. It was gonna give everyone a chance to take turns. But yeah, there was just kind of a lot of misinformation. So I think one of the mods put it on Showtime. So kind of
okay.
getting back to what you said
Okay,
about
okay,
Walter
hold on. My thing is
Plecker.
this. My thing, hold on, because my thing is this. If we're gonna talk, yeah, I don't want people to get into something that's trollish, because I'm just speaking
No,
scholarship here.
I'm not
Then
trolling. I'm
produce
talking about the
scholarship.
Okay,
misinformation,
but yeah,
though.
when people just mute and just cut off the
No,
mic and
no,
start
you weren't muted.
trolling,
It was a
That was
Showtime, so
Showtime. Are
everyone
you
was
okay,
new to
muted. So it
TikTok?
was
I'm new.
gonna
I
go one
am.
at
I
a
don't.
time.
I'm not familiar with a lot of the
So how
technology here.
TikTok
When
works, the
Showtime
host is in
starts,
control.
everyone is muted.
Got it.
We all
Okay.
take turns.
Okay, but when somebody asks a question, then they mute and just go on a diatribe with a lot of false
Was
information.
the
That's something
Wajide
different.
tribe not created in the
Now, who was I? I don't even
1990s?
know who was the lady I was talking to claiming she was a Native
Me. I was the
American.
one speaking, an actual American Indian and citizen of my tribe, and also a
Really?
cultural anthropologist who has a degree in this field.
Oh, okay. What tribe are you from, beloved?
Lipa Inde, which is in Apache, and I'm also Purepecha, but I'm enrolled Apache.
Okay. Many of you are $5 Indians. You're classified as
Actually, that's
white.
false. So, real quick, what you
Many of
should
you
know
pay.
about the whole five? No, no,
Many
no,
of
no, no,
you. No, no,
no,
no, no,
no.
no, no.
The
Many of you
$5
paid to get.
Indian
No, no,
trope.
no, no. These are
Hold
white
on.
people.
Because if you actually knew U.S. history, then you would know the $5 Indian
No.
trope only
Y'all-
applies to the 5 civilized tribes. I'm not from those tribes. I'm from a southwestern tribe. We have strict requirements. We don't have white people in our tribes.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. Yes,
No.
y'all do. They pay
Show
and
me a white
they
Apache
finesse
right
them.
now. Show
They
me a
fin-
white Apache right now, bro.
They finesse themselves onto them tribes,
Show me
man.
a white
They're-
Apache right now. We're not even on the Dawes rolls, dumbass.
One mic,
you finesse
one
you
mic.
finesse
Let
your
me
way on
just
those
say this as
tribes.
well. Can
A
we
lot of these people.
let's not make any aspersions of
Can I show
anyone's
him something on
characters.
the screen?
Let's
Right. If
not
you
make
want to talk
let's not
about
make
fake
any like
Indians.
Can I show this guy
so
something
let's
on
just
the
not make any derogatory remarks regardless. Anyone on the panel, let's just keep it respectful.
Right.
$5 Indian is seen as highly offensive. So let's
Yeah.
just leave, any
Well, that's the
disrespectful
term. That's
terms
what the
off
natives call
the
them. So.
table.
Right,
Right.
but you do understand that that only
no,
applies to the
because
5 civilized tribes.
Yeah.
That has nothing to
And
do with
some
southwestern natives.
some of those southwestern tribes are
That's
relatively
okay. So
new
then,
here.
if
They
you have
haven't
a
been here.
source, so
Some
then
of
if
them
you have a source
southwestern
that
tribes are
proves that, then
relatively new
produce
here,
it.
ma'am. Yeah.
If
Some
you
of
have
those.
a source that proves that, produce it. Then
Some
produce a
of those.
source.
Some of those tribes are relatively
Produce
new
a
here.
source that proves that.
I've done that already, ma'am, and you're
No,
just
you have
talking a
not. You
lie.
have not
So
shown
this is
one
Right.
thing.
I have a
honest
quick
and
question.
open reading.
So are
Yeah.
you
So.
saying the black people that were here, are you saying that they migrated from Africa? Or are
No,
you saying,
ma'am.
oh,
There were black indigenous people here that were mixed in with the black people brought over during slavery. It was a
No, there were
combination.
What is
not.
their
Yes, it
creation story,
was.
Not
Tariq?
true.
What
That
is
is
their
Yes, it
not
creation
was.
story?
It
true.
It's
was.
not
The
true.
tribe
It
you mentioned
was.
was created in the 1990s, Tariq, the Wachito.
No, it wasn't. They've
Oh,
been around
really?
for thousands of years, and the
You wanna
Yamasee were
you,
around
you
for
wanna
thousands
bet,
of years
Tariq?
as well.
You
Yes, I
you
want to
wanna
bet,
put a
sir.
100 on it?
They've been, yeah. Sir, all of the explorers weren't lying when they saw black people over here. Why'd they say that?
Explorers came in the 1500s, Tariq.
Right, and yeah, and they saw black people here. Why'd they say they saw black people here?
Because black people may have migrated to America before then.
Right.
That still makes them African, Tariq. What are you saying, right?
Oh Lord.
Why are you saying that still
Everybody
makes
in
them
sir,
African?
everybody migrated from Africa, sir. At one
That is
point,
incorrect.
Oh my God.
That is incorrect,
they
Tariq.
didn't. Then where did
Oh,
everybody
so
come
you
from?
do believe in the
Correct.
out of
Homo
Africa
sapiens
theory?
originated in Africa, but that's not the same as modern migrations.
Everybody. Asians migrated from Africa at one point.
Again, all Homo sapiens originated in Africa. No one
Right.
is denying that, but
Okay,
we're talking
I
about
got a question
modern
for Tariq.
migration.
Hold on. Tariq, are you FBA, right?
Yes,
You
sir.
FBA?
What are you,
Okay,
sir?
cool.
What are you, sir?
I'm from Cameroon.
Cameroon. Okay,
You know,
there you go.
yeah, that's where I'm from. So I'm just gonna ask you this peacefully, respectfully. Yeah. Can you ask your FBA people to leave African alone? Because they've been coming at us for no reason, respecting us.
That's a
I'm not feeling it.
projection. That's a projection.
Now I'm just being honest. So can you
Nobody's.
ask them nicely
That's a
to leave
projection,
us
sir.
alone, please? No.
Sir, that's a
Since you're
fantasy.
the leader, no, I'm talking, please. When
Now
I'm
you're
talking,
lying.
listen, please.
Now
Okay?
you don't want. Now you're
Since
being a
you're the
stereotype.
leader,
You're being a
ask them
stereotype.
nicely to leave us alone.
Now
To
you're
leave
doing.
us alone. Thank you. That's it. That's what I should let you know. That's it.
Yeah, this is a lot of misinformation being spewed. I'm sorry.
Extreme.
Africans are not indigenous to the Americas. Our phenotype would have been impossible to form here. It's too cold here. The sun doesn't show the same. It's not the
Do you
same.
know how the people you
Could you
call
unmute your mic, please?
me?
No,
Go
I'm
send
no, I'm
him
saying to
an
Tariq.
invite. I don't think he know how to.
Okay.
Somebody muted him, and I doubt if he can unmute his mic because he said he's new to TikTok.
Okay, Tariq, you do know that when you say everyone comes from Africa, right? Like the good sister said up there,
I was
everyone did come from Africa at some point. But guess what?
right.
Some people went through Asia, right?
Right.
They
Right.
spent hundreds of thousands of years, right? And when they got to America, they had evolved into different DNAs and different genetic markers and different haplogroups.
Right.
You know that. Some people crossed the Bering Strait, but for
Right.
some reason, the people you claim were the ones that were here first still have the same shit they took away from Africa. So why don't you see that? For some reason, some people got here first and you're just newcomers.
When I was over in Fiji, if you see the Fijian people, they're jet black people with afros. Now, they've been there for centuries. They've been there for a long time. But they told me about their African origin story. They told me that their lineage comes from East Africa. They broke it down and they told me some of the words that were used in Fiji were words that were similar to some of the tribes over there. Now, they have African lineage, but they are an ethnogenesis and they became Fijians. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not generic Africans. There's this thing where people want foundational Black Americans to be generic Africans. Why do they want us to be generic Africans so badly?
I didn't know that
That's where
Africans were
you're incorrect, my
Um,
brother. Because see, nobody wants you to be
Great
generic
man, can you
African.
bring Daryl up? I
Right.
think we should have a few FBAs.
Right, okay.
Because
okay.
see, when you
Got it.
say, the issue here is right, Tariq. The Fiji people don't have as much ties to Africa as you do when it comes genetically, when it comes to genetic markers, haplogroups, and all that. They don't, right? Guess what? See, you left yesterday. These people left long before you did. That is all we are saying. Because right now, the points you're pushing is trying to convince these people out here that they are indigenous to the land. And you know for a fact that is
No.
a lie, Tariq.
Part of us is. Part of us have indigenous
That is due to
ancestry.
admixture, my good brother.
Right.
It is not. I know that, but see,
Right.
that is admixture because some of these
We
tribes had slaves. Let's face it.
no,
There's a
not
reason
even
why we
that.
have no. There's a reason why we have Seminole and we have Black Seminole. There's a reason why we have Geechee and we have Gullah Geechee. Let's face it. Some of these tribes did have slaves. Some of them took you in when you ran from being slaves. So we acknowledge your admixture, but your
And
ancestry,
some were reclassified as
is something
Negro.
else.
Some were reclassified as Negro. We don't have a problem with the African genetics, but we're not continental Africans anymore. We had an ethnogenesis. We're not continental Africans no more. When we
We're
were
just
over here,
Africans.
when we were over here dealing with the ethnogenesis, we didn't get no help from Africa. No African nation reached out to us. We had to get it out the mud on our own and create our own culture.
Oh, really?
Oh,
So let me
really?
ask you this
Oh,
then.
really?
I'm sorry.
Okay, so
Hold on,
really?
Uncle Moose.
okay, wait.
Sorry. Hold on, Uncle
Okay.
Moose. Rikira, I'd like you to make a submission as well.
Hi, I just have a few questions because I'm still trying to understand what FBA is. Is it a movement? Is it an ethnicity? Is it a lineage? If it's a lineage, does that lineage trace back to West and Central Africa?
Foundational Black American is an ethnic group and a lineage. It traces back to the beginning of the United States. That's where it traces back to. And
Okay,
the people who are Black right here in the United States, or what became the United States after we built it, that's what makes you a foundational Black American. So yes, do they have African genetics? Yes, but we're not continental Africans anymore. We've had an ethnogenesis. We became a whole new ethnic group. That makes sense?
I'm sorry, Tariq.
okay, so as far as it
No,
being
it
an
doesn't,
ethnic,
Tariq. Honestly, it
wait,
doesn't.
just a second, Moose.
Okay, why doesn't it make sense? Why doesn't that make sense?
I hear what you're saying. What doesn't make sense is the fact that an ethnic group cannot be trademarked, right?
They
So,
can't. That's right. That's
right,
right.
but FBA is trademarked.
The
So it's
ethnic,
not an ethnic group.
yes, it is because African American is trademarked. Igbo is
No, no, no.
trademarked.
African American Inc. is trademarked.
No, no, no,
African
no.
American
That's not true.
Heritage Museum is trademarked.
No, that's not
But
true.
let
The
me
term
finish because
African
I'm
American
going
is
to show you
trademarked.
when we pull that up. I'm going to pull that up here and I can read it and we can put it
I
on the
pulled
big
it up several
screen.
times.
Right. It clearly states that it's invalid. The trademark application was registered, but subsequent registration
There
canceled
are
because
two.
registrant
There
did
are
not
2,000.
file an
There's
acceptable
2,000.
declaration.
There's 2,000
Okay.
trademarks for the term African American. Some are still live, ma'am. There's hundreds of trademarks for Igbo. There's trademarks for the word Yoruba. There's trademarks for the word Jamaican. There's trademarks for the word Puerto
So
Rican.
there's not trademarks for
No,
those
thank
ethnic
you.
identities. There are businesses that may have those tribe names in
In
their
it.
business title.
Right,
So it's
which is
not
what
actually a
that's what
trademark
FBA
on
is.
those
That's what
ethnic groups.
that's what Foundational Black
So
American
you're a
is
business
trademarked for
then.
products.
So you're a business and your
For
people
all
are
of
your
these others, so
products.
is Igbo a business too?
No, she said some businesses might have those names in their
Right,
logos
just
and
like
all that.
Foundational Black American.
So I'm saying you're a business.
No, it's not, sir.
No,
If
you're a
that's a
business.
business,
Your
African
people are your
American is a
products.
business.
You are just a businessman.
African American is a business then, right?
You are just a businessman.
Hold on.
African American is a business,
Museum
right?
is a business. African American Inc. is a business.
No,
African American Heritage Museum is a business,
no.
but not
Just the
African
word,
American.
the word itself, African American, has 2,000 trademarks on it.
And it says African American and another word behind that.
No,
or
it doesn't.
other
No,
words
it doesn't.
behind
No,
it.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't, ma'am. That's not true. Every word has a trademark depending on what product that you're selling. We have products with the name Foundational Black American. The ethnic group is not trademarked. Products with the name is trademarked. See, you can't make bad faith arguments. See, that diminishes the whole argument when y'all make bad faith arguments like that. Every term has a trademark on it based on
Tariq,
what
an
product.
ethnic group can't be trademarked.
You're right, it can't be trademarked. It cannot be trademarked.
At this point, you're disproving
So
yourself, dude.
FBA
I'm
is a
not.
business. That's what you're saying.
But
You're
African
just
American,
disproving
okay,
yourself.
so you're
FBA is a
contradicting yourself. If African American and Jamaican is an ethnic group, those are trademarks. Not with the word behind it. The word
I
Jamaican
thought
itself is
Jamaican was a
trademarked.
nationality.
But it has a trademark, sir, based on certain products.
You
No,
see,
Jamaican is a
now you just
nationality.
sounding like Tariq. Like, what are you doing?
Foundational
There are
Black
Asian
American
Jamaicans, sir. There are white tea Jamaicans.
Foundational Black American is a lineage.
But you can't
Okay,
trademark.
so
Yeah, but you
sorry,
just
go
said
ahead,
you
guys.
can. You can trademark the name of a lineage. You can trademark any word. You just proved that.
Now you just proved you're a businessman, Tariq, and your people are your products.
Everybody is a business person. Everybody does
So
business,
you're
sir.
making money off these t-shirts and hats?
Of course I am. Why wouldn't I?
Respect.
The hell,
Can I ask just a quick question?
yeah,
I just wanted to
yeah.
quickly
I'm making
ask
money off the
Tariq.
hats and t-shirts, of course.
Okay, I
Duh.
just wanted to ask a quick question. I actually had a few things, but we kind of moved off the Walter Plecker topic. Maybe we'll circle back to it later.
No,
But I just had a
trending.
quick question.
Trending. Go ahead. Ask him the water. local stuff. Very important.
Okay, I'll bring that up and I'll also ask my other question. So with the Walter Plecker issue, so with the Racial Integrity Act, that was only passed in one state, Virginia. So people outside of that one state of Virginia, they don't necessarily have an argument for mass reclassification. And even in the state of Virginia, right, when the Racial Integrity Act was passed, we did not see a massive decline in the Indian population. So we don't have any evidence that everyone who was before Indian was then reclassified to black, right? Because then we would have seen the Indian population drop significantly and the black population increase significantly. The other question I want to ask as well is,
Where's the proof of that? Where's the proof of that? Because Plecker changed thousands of birth certificates. So this is
right,
documented.
so yeah, we can bring up the Racial Integrity Act of 1924. It was only in Virginia, correct?
And also, there was another woman in New Orleans named Naomi Drake who was
Right,
doing the
so
same thing. Naomi Drake was doing the same thing with
however,
the...
you only brought up Walter Plecker. So
Right.
I'm contending with the Walter Plecker part.
Okay, but
Right,
there's
so
others.
that was
but
only in
okay.
Virginia. So my point is, people outside of Virginia don't necessarily have a valid argument for any legalized reclassification.
They do because they
brought up
were...
Walter Plecker.
They do because
So
going
okay,
back
let
into
me
the
add in my other
1600s.
question as well, because I
Okay,
think my
okay,
other question is a little bit
okay,
more important.
okay.
So let me add that in.
If you say
So
something,
what do you
okay.
think about the virulent xenophobia and anti-African, anti-Caribbean sentiment that is shared by many of the FBA movement?
That's a projection.
No, it's not.
So that's here on this very app every day. We get up here and we
And
talk.
now you're
That's
gonna
a
tell me,
projection.
hold on. You've been on TikTok since 2020. You've
That's a
never
projection.
seen, hold on, you've never seen xenophobia on TikTok.
That's a projection.
You know it's not a projection. You need to go on
Come
some of
on,
these lives
man.
and talk to your people.
Man,
It's really
foundational,
Tariq Nasheed.
man,
Did you guys see his face
xenophobia,
on
nothing. We're the only people who help foreigners, man. We're the only people who do that. Y'all come over here and have all types of pejorative terms for us. And y'all been doing that for decades. Because
So
you do it in,
is
because
this
you do
really
it in,
Uncle Muse? Is this really
no,
the
you want to
person
talk
Tariq
about,
I
Nasheed?
don't think.
because
I don't.
y'all,
I don't
Can you
think.
turn on,
tribal.
sir? Can you turn on your camera,
No,
please?
we're not going to do
I
that
don't
because
think
we
so.
check people for disrespecting us.
No
That's the
problem, sir.
problem.
So let me
Sir,
ask
can we
you,
know who you're
Xenophobic,
speaking
Tariq.
to?
Let
we're
me
the
ask
main ones
you.
helping you.
When your
Do you
women
think there's
went to
some
no,
sort of
hold on for a
jealousy
second.
when
Hold on for a
immigrants come
second,
here
Tariq.
and they succeed
Tariq,
in America?
when
Wait,
your
wait, wait, wait,
women
wait, wait,
went
wait.
to
Who,
Ghana,
Have
Tariq
hold on, wait,
Nasheed.
wait. Slow
one
down.
When
No, no,
your
no,
man
no.
women
Slow
went to
down.
Ghana
Wait,
and they were
slow
Yeah,
trafficking
down.
on
because
slave
can we
Jealousy?
traffickers,
do
did you
one
check
mic at
Hold
a
them?
Oh
time,
on.
my,
please?
Uncle Moose,
Hold
one
on.
mic.
Did
Jealousy?
you check them? Your women
Jealousy?
went to
Wait,
Ghana,
wait,
they
wait.
were trafficking on slave
Jealousy?
dungeons. Did you check them?
Jealousy? Wait, jealousy of who?
No, I'm just a question, right? Because they say we come here and we take their jobs
What
and we take
jobs?
their benefits,
What
scholarships. So
jobs?
to me, it's kind of sounds
What
like
jobs?
that's what they. This is what FBA say online all day.
I'm a foundational Black American. I want to know what jobs y'all taking.
That's what I'm curious about.
Okay,
They
well, you
take their
going
Hold on,
scholarships,
that
we
don't
take
make
their
hold
sense.
on,
food,
because
What
on
jobs?
and
TikTok
we
is quite.
benefit off the backs of their ancestors. So I was just
Well,
asking
that's
you.
not jealousy. When people come
I
over,
was
you
just
benefit
asking you,
from
like,
it.
to me, it
But
sounds like
jealous of what?
jealousy.
Of what? Jealous of what?
So
Yeah,
hold
I
on,
think
can
he's
we?
playing
yeah.
games.
Okay, if
Okay,
we're
He's
jealous
playing
of
games.
what?
wait,
That's a
Sorry,
question.
since you're
Of success in America. Let's be for real. When immigrants do come to America,
Uh-oh.
we outdo ourselves, especially compared to the people that have been here for a while.
No, where are you from? Where are you from and you're doing all this great? You're from where? How? Where are you from?
I was born in America.
Where's your family from? Yeah, I don't
But
have nobody muted.
but
Yeah, where's your family from if you're doing so good? Where's your family from?
wait, Tariq Joe, like I have a question for you, right? Like your
No,
people,
no, no,
no,
because people ain't
no,
gonna
hold on,
say
sir.
stuff
I
and then,
just, I
no,
yeah,
okay, you're
before
not
I
just gonna say nothing and then just get
Question.
quiet when y'all say something crazy and then nobody want to elaborate on all this stuff.
okay, Madinka, go ahead.
Okay, where's all this jealousy coming from? See, that's the
These are
problem.
things
The
that
self-hate
FBAs
identity
say
crisis that
from
we
their
see
own
every day.
mouths.
Jealous of what? This is what
For
I
the
want to know.
self-hate identity crisis, you can go on
No,
numerous
sir,
FBA panel.
we
Hold on, let me
no,
speak, sir. I don't
we
even
do
know if
not
I'm
have an
speaking to
identity
Tariq Nasheed.
crisis, sir.
All right, no problem. So you can go on different panels, people focusing on we need to kick out African people, immigrants people from the Caribbean and the continent of Africa. So you're gonna tell me right now in front of 400 people that you've never seen it at all, not even one
There's
of them.
43 million foundational Black Americans,
Oh
sir.
my
I don't know
God.
what they say.
Who's
There's
43 million?
There's what?
Bro, come on, bro. Are
There's
you
43
denying
million
this? Like,
foundational Black Americans. I don't know what they tell you guys.
How many self-identifies foundation?
Don't matter. They're 43 million. By logic, they're
African
43 million.
American.
There's
Most
no
of us
African
don't
American.
identify
No,
as
Elon
foundational.
Musk is African American.
But
That's
I'm
No,
a,
he
I'm a
is not.
descendant
He's
of
South
American
African American. There's a
Elon
difference.
Musk
is
is
this Tariq
African
We don't
Nasheed
American.
going to say
identify
this?
as
We don't.
foundational
Yeah,
No,
Black
that's
he's
why
Hold
not
on,
Americans.
people.
actually.
Yes, he
could
is.
someone
He
help?
Elon
is.
is Dutch. He's a Dutchman from South
No one
He
would consider
he
Elon
said
Musk
he's
African
African
American. That's
American.
No,
absolutely
he's an
insane.
invader.
He said he's African American, and you can
No,
have that.
he's never
No,
said that. He identifies
Yes,
as a
he
white
did.
tea,
Yes,
No,
he
he
white tea
did
did.
person.
not.
Yes, he did.
So
Yes, he
he's not
did.
African American. So let's just
Technically, he
clarify what
is.
African American means.
No.
So African American refers to the descendants of formerly enslaved Africans
No,
in
it
the United
doesn't.
States of America.
Immigrants
It
are
does.
African Americans, and
No,
African
we're not
immigrants are African
actually.
Americans.
No,
Immigrants
we're
Yes,
not.
they
So
are.
I'm not an
African
African
American, not
American.
they only
No,
identify as
I'm
black.
not.
Yes,
I'm
man, this
Nigerian, so
right.
it refers to it's for the descendants of the enslaved people in
No, it
America, right?
doesn't.
So you cannot just
Yes,
come
it
into a
does.
country and change your ethnic group,
Then
right?
why were they
African
calling Barack
American is
Obama African
already.
American?
Wait,
Why
one
were they
second.
calling?
One second. Well, that was what the white tea American press did
Oh
because the
Lord.
white tea American
Okay.
press sees all black people as a monolith. So that's
Right.
actually about racism and ethnic erasure. So when we're talking about that, you cannot come into a new country and automatically just now become a new ethnic group. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, but technically they're African American. Anybody can be African American. Jamaicans, Caribbeans, anybody come over here can become an African
No,
American.
that doesn't even make sense.
It
No,
does
That
make
doesn't make
they
sense.
cannot
sense.
identify as African American. When you do like
Which
a
they
job
do.
application, no, when you do a job application, it has black and or African American. Black means you are
Right, so
you
people who
are
identify as African
anybody
American who are
else.
not African American, that's just ignorance and
Yeah,
misinformation. So they
yeah.
probably haven't been told the correct information to know the difference between
And that's
ethnicity,
why with all that
nationality, and
confusion,
race.
and that's with all that confusion, that's why we said, hey, we're foundational Black Americans. So that
So there's
avoids all
nothing
the
Has
wrong with
that changed the
delineating.
paper?
Everyone
right.
has a
Has
right
that
to
changed the
delineate.
paper?
The issue is the
Conclude.
xenophobia and the
No,
anti-immigrant
no,
hatred
no,
that
we're
comes
not
from
gonna. No,
movement.
no,
There's nothing wrong
no.
with delineating.
Because no, there's too many people who come over here from these tribal homelands where they were beating each other down tribally, and they bring that
Yo,
over
this is
here,
not Tariq
and we're
Nasheed,
It's
not
man.
having
insane
that.
that you have all this commentary for Africans but not for white people. It's absolutely
Exactly.
insane.
Ma'am, I go in on the white supremacists. You
Clearly
don't
not
know who I
enough,
am.
especially
Yes,
when
I
you're
am.
sitting here spreading
Yes, I am.
misinformation
I'm not
about
spreading
indigenous
misinformation,
people.
ma'am, and I think you're $5, but
Okay, but
I go
except
in
for
I
I'm not
go
from
in
the
on the white
southeastern
I
tribe,
go in
so
on the
get
white
your history
supremacy vote.
correct.
And ma'am, if you want to talk about some of those tribes, they were very hostile towards black people. So do we want to
You're
go
right, the
there?
southeastern tribes
Do
were.
we
I'm
want
not
to
from
go?
one of those tribes, my guy.
Oh, okay. Because we can talk about some of the things y'all were doing to black people, and some of you were
Not
slave
my tribe, so
catchers.
get it correct, because
Oh,
it's not my tribe.
yeah, them southwestern tribes were
So
doing that.
right,
Didn't
you
you have
don't really
slaves
Absolutely
in
you
not.
can't really
America
make that
too?
assumption about her
Didn't you
tribal
have
group.
slaves in
So I
America
just want to
too?
ask the final question as
Right.
well. So do you agree with the members of the FBA who say
What's
that
the? There's
they
no
do
such
not
thing as
descend from
members.
enslaved Africans at all, and that the transatlantic slave trade never happened?
Most foundational Black Americans don't say that. That's a misnomer. That's
No,
disingenuous.
I didn't say most do. I'm asking, do you agree with the ones who do?
I don't give a damn what they say. I don't say that. And it's 43
Do you
million
agree
foundational
is what
Black
she's
Americans.
asking you. Answer the
I,
question she's
it's
asking you.
Okay,
43 million.
so you
It's
okay,
43
okay. So
million
let me ask
foundational
you this
Black
way.
Americans.
Let me just
I've
ask
al-
you this
y'all.
way, guys. Let me
I've
just
already said what I've said. I've already said that we have African genetics and that some of us were brought over in slavery. I've said that a
right,
multiple
but people
number of
deny
times.
that. People
But I'm
deny
not
that
them.
vehemently and still claim
There's 43
FBA.
million. There's 43 million foundational Black Americans. Everybody's not going to be on the same page historically. But that
Right,
doesn't
but if
change
you're
our
not on the
lineage.
same page
That
or on
doesn't
the
change
same
our
code, how
lineage.
can you guys use the same label? If you guys don't all agree with what FBA means, how can you guys all use that title
Everybody
to
agrees
call
what it
yourselves a
means.
group?
Everybody knows what it's an ethnic. It's a lineage. Everybody understands that. But there's
No,
going to
people
be different.
disagree about what the lineage is.
No,
Some
they
people say
don't.
the
No, they
lineage
don't.
is of enslaved Africans, and some people say the lineage is of black people that were always in the Americas and that are indigenous and that never came from Africa.
The
So
lineage
people
means
disagree about what the
no.
lineage is.
The lineage means non-immigrant. You come from a non-immigrant background. That so everything else is subjective. But one thing we know for sure, we come from non-immigrant backgrounds. We did not immigrate here. We were always here. And we
Okay,
did.
no, so the always here part is where we're getting pushback. So if that is true, at what point in time then did the alleged Black indigenous people, how many thousands of years ago did they migrate to the Americas?
Ma'am,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
But
and
you're all about scholarship, right? So
exactly.
how
Yeah,
many thousands of years ago did they migrate
Whenever
to the Americas?
whenever Lucia woman was here, so
No,
around
so
that
I'm
time.
asking you for a specific time frame because I can give the time
Whenever
frame of when my ancestors migrated here.
when
So
did they
when did
migrate
your
here?
ancestors migrate here?
When did your ancestors migrate here?
Between 23 and 27,000 years ago.
And that's not even true because most of those
That's
Western
actually
planes,
very true.
most of
Just
those
answer
Western
her
planes,
question.
they
Then when
came
did
over
your
later.
ancestors migrate here?
Some of those people, some of those red
When did
natives came
your
over here. In the
Fantastic. So
50s.
when did yours migrate here?
So they've been here for thousands of years. Some of them, and
So
then some
how
were
many
brought,
thousands of years?
some
If
were
you're all
brought here,
about
and
scholarship,
some were
you would
brought
be
here
able to
during
give us a
the.
timeline.
Now you're trolling, man. Some were
No, I'm
brought
not
over during the
trolling. I'm
slave
coming with
trade.
statistics
No, you're
and
not. No,
facts,
you're
and
not.
you're not.
No, you're not. You're just trolling. Some were brought over during the slave trade, but we became a whole different ethnic group,
So
and
the
here we are.
ones who are allegedly black and
Yeah.
indigenous to the Americas, at
hmm
what point in time
Don't
did they
matter.
migrate
Thousands
here?
of years ago.
How many
According,
thousands of years ago?
doesn't matter because
It does matter
you're talking in
because you don't
circles.
know what the you're
Yes, I do.
talking
Yes,
about.
ma'am. Thousands of years ago.
Why isn't
How
their
come you don't
DNA
know
showing
that,
up?
Thousands
Tariq?
of
It's
years
painful.
ago. Because you're
Tariq,
just
it's
saying,
painful.
you're just talking, ma'am.
It's
You're not
painful,
trying to
We
make
Tariq.
a
don't
point.
see that
No, I'm an actual academic with a
DNA.
degree.
No,
Black
you're not,
people in
ma'am.
here.
Not with that potty mouth, ma'am. You have a
It's
very potty
painful,
mouth.
Tariq. It's
Oh, I don't
painful.
do white
Now she got a
respectability
patty mouth.
politics.
Yes, you do.
I know
You
you
see?
like licking the white man's boots, but that's
You
not my
see?
thing,
That's
homie.
you,
So
man.
I don't
That's
do white
Disrespecting black
respectability
women
politics.
now.
yes,
So
ma'am.
you want to talk some nonsense, then I'm going to
Ma'am,
talk however the fuck I want back.
sit your $5 self down before I make change. All
Except for
right.
I'm not a southeastern
You see?
tribe.
How is that allowed? Like, why are you disrespecting a woman, bro?
That's what I'm
Because she
saying. Like,
proved you
I'm getting
wrong?
like this because he's been disrespectful the entire time he's
no,
been up
No, I
here.
have
instances.
not.
Yeah,
Additionally, he
No,
wants
I
to
have
claim
not. You've
Walter
been
Flecker.
trolling, ma'am.
Okay,
And you're
how
just
many
saying stuff.
amendments? How many amendments
Ma'am,
were there to the Racial Integrity Act of
don't
Virginia?
matter. You just
How many
talking, ma'am.
amendments were
Your
there?
arguments are in bad faith.
How many
So,
amendments were there
ma'am,
to the Racial Integrity Act since you know so
I'll
much
talk
about
to you when I get $5
reclassification?
more. When I get $5 more,
How
I'll talk to
many
you. You just
amendments
talking.
were there to the Racial
Anybody,
Integrity Act?
any other black people want to say something?
We-
I'll talk to the black
How
people.
many amendments were there to
This is
the
wild.
Racial
I want
Integrity
to talk to the
Act?
black people. I don't
hold,
want to get.
Dang, so he has FBA in here for sure. So
Right.
FBA is so like since you do have FBA in here, why don't you clarify for FBA the people who are following you, the people who are most influenced by you? Like to say that you're African descent, you have been on record saying going against people who are pretendians, saying that we have always been here, and now you're talking about 1,000 years. Like, are you okay? So you're conflicting your
making
own.
sense. You're
No,
not making
you are
sense, beloved.
conflicting
You're
your
just
own
saying
words
stuff.
because even you
You're
yourself,
just saying stuff,
if
beloved.
even you yourself have said
You don't.
that
You're
you
just
are
saying
not
stuff.
pretendians, who claim to have been in America, who have always been in America. You have literally gone against that claim, right?
That's right.
You yourself, as FBA, have always said that you are African descent.
But what's your argument, man?
Please clarify. I'm saying
What's
to
your
you,
argument?
clarify for your followers that they
don't
are
have
African
followers.
descent.
He's a businessman.
Okay,
You can't
now
do
I want to
that.
ask you a question. You cannot be
Calm down.
FBA without
You're right.
being African descent. Yes or no?
Right. You can have African descent to be a
No,
foundational black
no, that's
American.
not my question.
Everybody does. Everybody has African
No,
descent.
not everybody. So you're
Yes, they
giving
do.
white people African descent.
They do too. White people
You're
have
giving
African.
Asian people African descent.
Everybody has African
Okay,
descent.
so no, we're not talking about the out of Africa
Who doesn't
theory.
have African descent?
We're not talking about the out of Africa theory. We're not talking
Everybody
about
has
that.
African descent.
No, we're talking about those who directly descend from Western Central Africa.
The problem is people, y'all want us to be generic Africans. There's a
First of all, who is y'all?
Generic African mean?
Generic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like no, he needs to be clear
Why y'all want us
to
to be generic
like
Africans?
this is where you fail. bro. You fail as a
This
leader.
is
You
the
need to be
delusion.
clear.
So this is where the delusion comes in. We don't want you to be African. We're talking about the facts of history and the facts of genetics and the facts of what happened. There would be no FBA if white people did not traffic enslaved Africans to the Americas and enslave them
And
here.
enslave the
So
people
we
who
are
are
trying
here.
to get onto a basis. We're trying to get onto a basis of a point because many of the people who follow you claim that they have no African descent at all and that the transatlantic slave trade never happened, which goes
I've never
directly
said
against
that.
one of your main points.
I've never
because
said
one
that.
of your main I never said that. You
I've
said that.
never said that.
I know
Yes,
that.
we
I know
understand
that
that
you
you've
didn't
never
say
said
So
that.
that,
why
I
are
but
know
you
your
that you
asking me
follower
didn't
to
have
say
said
that.
confirm?
that.
I've
That's not
never
my
said.
point.
Why are you asking me to
exactly
confirm?
what I'm
I've
trying
never
to
Okay,
said
get
so
at.
that.
what I'm telling you is
Okay,
that
slow
division
down.
in your movement.
No,
Listen, what I'm
you
telling you
keep.
is that division in
I've
your
never
movement
said
is
that.
actually causing friction. I know you never said
No, it's
that. I'm
not.
talking about other
There's
people
no
who follow
friction.
you.
There's no
It is,
friction.
right? Because one
There's
second,
43
because the
million
FBA,
foundational Black
let me get
Americans.
to my point. So the FBA, one of the primary objectives of the FBA allegedly is to get reparations for chattel slavery. If some people are saying that chattel slavery never happened and that enslaved Africans never came here, and they're also saying that they're FBA, that's going against your direct objective to get reparations for chattel
And
slavery.
that's what I'm
So even within the movement, there is no cohesion on
Still
what the
doesn't change the
definition
lineage.
of an FBA is.
It does. It
Is an
doesn't change the
FBA
lineage.
is an FBA a reclassified Cherokee, or is an FBA a descendant of
No,
enslaved Africans? Which one is it?
it's a Black person who's not an immigrant. That's it. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. It's a Black person who doesn't have an immigrant lineage.
No,
It's
what's
that
the name
simple.
of these tribes of these African people that were here?
Now you're trying to make it more difficult than what it is,
It's
man.
not difficult than what it is because you
It,
guys
it
don't
is.
know
You're
what you're
trying to. It's not difficult.
you don't know what you're
Telling me about
talking
what
about.
some random person says. There's 43
Sir,
million
you're saying the
foundational
most
Black
random
Americans.
comments ever. None of the stuff you're saying even makes sense or
This is. It's
coincide.
real simple. You're trying
People
to. Y'all
didn't
trying
migrate
to.
out of Africa 30,000 years
You're
ago,
trying
sir.
to make us generic Africans. We're just not. We're new
Because no
ethnic
one's
group,
trying to
and it's
make you a
okay.
generic African. You
We don't
have
The
hate
term
you.
African
generic
lineage.
is actually insane.
It's insane because we're not
You
generic
know
Africans.
that
What
the only
about
good
Africa
is
is
that his
generic? Nothing
FBA
about Africa is
followers are
generic.
falling
And
true.
why would you claim that our ancestors would leave a land that was pure and had everything that it needed to come here to bear in the United States? Why would they do that?
What? What kind
What
of
need would
argument
they
is?
have
What are
to
you
do
talking
something like
about?
that?
What are you talking about? You're just saying stuff. What are y'all
No,
talking
I'm
about?
not.
You're
What you're
just
saying
saying
though,
stuff. You
You
have
are
you're
not
just
saying
produced
stuff
a
out of
single
frustration.
source for any of your asinine claims.
I do,
When we're talking about actual
ma'am,
history, you continue to push back
ma'am,
without producing any sources to back up your
You are
shit.
Caucasian. You're
I'm
Caucasian.
not Caucasian. I don't
Yes,
even
you are.
fucking like Caucasians, bro.
No,
So don't put
stop
that
it.
shit on
Stop
me.
it. Stop it.
I'm
Stop it,
probably
man.
meaner to white people than
No,
everybody on
you're
this fucking panel. So
Caucasian.
shut the
You're
fuck up with that
Caucasian. Y'all
bullshit.
finesse yourself into a tribe.
Let's not deflect. Let's
Occasion.
just
If
keep it
someone
Okay,
academic.
that's a
That's what I'm
Caucasian.
saying.
would you
He
like
keeps
that?
deflecting by talking
No,
shit.
that's
Yeah,
a Caucasian.
let's just keep it
He's being a
academic. I
Caucasian.
also
If
wanted
she's
to
a
let up
Caucasian, you're
some
a
more.
Right.
raccoon.
I'm a who?
Guys, can you guys please stop dropping the FBA people that the mods are letting up? You guys see that the mods are letting up Ray, and you guys keep dropping her. We're trying to keep it balanced so that it's not just an
Right.
overwhelm of one FBA and a bunch of people who are not FBA.
Anyway. All right.
Yeah,
So
but
I want this to be constructive. I want it to be a
yes,
very constructive
Okay,
that's
piece.
what
to
I'm
be
saying. But
constructive, are you able to
sorry,
produce
Caroline.
scholarship for anything that you have
Ma'am,
claimed?
you're Caucasian. I don't really
I'm
want to
not.
talk to
So
you.
if you
I
want
don't
to
want
keep
to. I
talking
don't want to
shit,
talk
you
to a
can pull up
Caucasian
any day you
trolls.
want. But
You're
I'm trying to talk
Caucasian
about
trolls.
scholarship.
Yeah, you don't
So
have
do you have
scholarship.
a source for
You're
anything that you
Caucasian
have
troll.
stated?
I've already stated that you're a Caucasian troll.
Except
I
that
want
I'm
to talk to
not, and you're
I want to
African
talk to my
American, and you
African
should be
and
proud about
Caribbean
that.
brothers and sisters. I want to talk
Okay,
to them.
cool. So
All right.
again, do
Oh,
you
so
have a
we're
She's
your
a
brothers and
Caucasian,
sisters?
you're a
Wait, can
raccoon.
you
right,
clarify
right?
that? So you said you're African and Caribbean brothers and sisters,
Yeah, when have I
but
never said? When have I
your
not said
followers
that?
would call us. Okay, so we're brothers and sisters. Excellent. But your followers think that we're tethers. What do you think about what your followers think about us? Your
What
followers don't
followers?
see us as brother and sister.
Followers of what? You keep
of the
saying my
FB
The
followers.
of the
followers
FBA
that you
movement.
have in
Followers
this
of
People who
what?
live
claim to
who
be
love you and
FBA
listen
say
to
that they're
everything that you
tethered.
say.
Your
Great man,
lineage
let me
is
The
your
FBA
lineage.
great man,
followers.
let me holler
Yeah,
at him real quick,
if
man.
you follow me or not, your lineage is still your lineage.
Let me
You're going
holler
to be a
great
foundational
man,
Black
let me holler at him real
American.
quick.
Yeah,
What's going on?
Olua, go ahead.
What's going
Right.
on, Tariq?
What's that? Who is this, brother?
It's Alua.
Hello, Alua. But yeah, your lineage is your lineage, whether you follow me or not. I don't have followers. I
Okay,
don't
so
have
let me
followers.
ask you a question,
And
Tariq.
I'm not the leader of anybody, but go ahead.
Let me ask you a question, Tariq.
Yeah, so where you from, by the way, sir?
I'm from Nigeria, but
There
I'm
you go.
American.
There you go. What's happening?
Yeah, so I just feel like this movement you're doing, it's it when I call on TikTok, a lot of people came behind it and it started being xenophobic towards African and Caribbean people. That was really distasteful and hurtful to some Africans, and most of these guys, it's on everybody's For You page all over the world, in the UK, in Africa, in all over Europe, and it paints African Americans in a bad light, and I think that's why a lot of African Americans are coming out against it. What would you have to say to that?
Okay, I'm kind of who painted. You kind of lost me. Now who painted black? Where you lost me.
No, like the Dr. No Jobs and these guys when they go on their panels and they speak ill of African and Caribbean people, calling them mud huts, saying that they cosplays, they're tethers, they're foreigners, they come to the land, they're taking their resources.
That's true, bro.
Okay, well, that was a response because what happened, a lot of African and Caribbeans would come here and start telling foundational Black Americans we don't have a culture, and they would be totally disrespectful.
But that's not. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we as Africans and Caribbean people don't really like. Honestly, if you guys would have got together and said that you guys want to call yourself foundational Black Americans as a group, I don't think we have an issue. What we have an issue is the disrespect to African and Caribbean people.
Hold on, because the thing is, y'all had pejorative terms for us, othering us, letting us know that we weren't the same as you.
Who's y'all? So that's what I'm saying.
Nigerians. Let's go to Nigeria.
Okay, pause.
Akadas, y'all were calling us Akadas for decades.
Hold on. So Tariq, I'm Yoruba. Akada is a Yoruba word. So when you guys say, hold on.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Hold on.
I've heard all types of West Africans say that.
Hold on, sir. But I'm saying, like, just like you guys don't like us to generalize 43 million African Americans, don't generalize 1 billion Africans. And you want to talk about Nigerians? It's 260 million Nigerians on the continent. Mm-hmm. Don't generalize everybody because you heard a word, okay?
No, but it wasn't just one person saying it. It was the fact that the word exists is a problem.
Okay, sir. I've had so many bad experiences with African Americans in this country, but I keep it to that person. I don't say all African Americans are this and that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, but the thing is, there's a general consensus is when a lot of folks come over here, their parents like stay away from the Akadas and that type of thing. So it's a general.
Okay. Let me give you my story. Right, I moved. My parents. Well, I grew up here. We moved to Atlanta. Moved to College Park. The first week, me moving to College Park, there was a murder up the street from my house. Right, and my parents didn't let me go outside. You know what I'm saying? Don't you think sometimes when African parents say these things, it's just a defense mechanism? It's not just against African Americans. It's just, I'm just talking about my experiences.
Okay, we're talking about our general experiences because we as foundational Black Americans, we elevate these other groups and bring them in, and then we see they start doing things to undermine us.
Tariq, you don't bring in.
We do what?
How did you bring us in?
Well, the fact that y'all were able to immigrate here is because of foundational Black Americans.
How so?
How did you pay for my ticket? Or
the immigration laws, sir. The immigration laws from the 1960s. We were fighting for that. They didn't want y'all. They didn't want blacks over here from Africa and the Caribbean
to come over.
But hold on, let me just finish.
We're gonna do that. Are we going there?
Hold on.
I mean, but let's just correct that though. The people that fought for the civil rights movement predominantly were African Americans, people who were known as Negro, who proudly represented their African heritage. They were not foundational Black American.
No,
foundational Black American is a relatively new thing.
No.
In the civil rights movement, they were not calling themselves foundational Black American.
Bad faith argument. They
weren't
calling themselves African American. They weren't calling themselves African American.
This is a new title. Right, they were calling themselves things like Negro, maybe colored, and they were still identifying proudly with African heritage. So this is a different group.
They weren't calling themselves African American in the 60s. That's
not true. Do you know what time period the term first arrived in the American?
Y'all talking about my parents. Y'all talking about my parents.
They
weren't calling themselves African American in the 60s.
So what were they called?
Yeah.
They were called Black and Negro.
I can't pull the bit. Hold on.
They weren't calling themselves African American in the 60s. These are my parents y'all talking about.
So you said you were called Black or Negro?
Okay, God, Lord. Okay. All right. I'll let other folks. The conversation is just getting into low-key trolling and it's getting into bad faith. Okay.
It's not trolling.
It really is. Okay. All right. Okay. Because I don't want to talk in bad faith now.
Yeah. So what I'm saying. What I'm saying though is at that time we do have to be honest.
Hold on, I got one question. What is the
Yeah, he's running out of points.
He can't produce a single source for anything he says, and then he wants to say that other people are bad faith arguing. Like, it's insane, actually.
He has run out of coins.
Wow, I had such a good question. What is the end goal of this grift, brother? ADOS is pushing for immigration reform. You are pushing for coins in your bank account. How is this leading the BLK population that are following this nonsense to greener pasture, bro? Y'all let him escape. Oh my god.
Yeah.
He
So
ran.
so
We needed to keep it to the
you
history
know
aspect
he's gonna keep running. He's not
It's
gonna
like what is the end goal though? Like how do people benefit from this other than you causing division, making a boatload of money, and getting to escape all
Right.
He's
culpability?
a businessman.
He ran
He
away.
has
He
but
said
you
ran
know
that
he's
away.
not gonna
himself.
answer that.
He ran
You
away
know he's not
because
gonna answer that.
I
So
wanted
we
to
had a
ask him
question
that
for him. Like,
so bad.
but hey, thanks you guys. I gotta go. Great man, thank you, man. Thank you
Okay,
so
no
bye,
much.
problem.
Oluwam.
Trending.
I'm no longer musty. I'm no longer musty. Hey, I'm no longer musty. Hey, I'm no longer musty. 'Cause I got my real work on. I'm no longer musty. 'Cause I got my real work on. I'm no longer musty. 'Cause I got my